Well, you guys, it's about 11 o'clock. I've got about an hour and a half to goof off, and I thought I'd do another quick little lesson. We're working on Genesis 37, okay? And number 37 is representing 10. If you add those together, you get 10. 10's a beginning of another story, all right? And we just ended all those other guys with Esau. But on this side, it says and Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with his sons of Bilhah and with his sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Number 3. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a coat of many colors. And 4. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. This first 4 worlds representing this business of Jacob. Jacob is one. It's the beginning of another story. That's what this whole idea of the one is about. And Jacob dwelling in the land where his father was a stranger. Remember, these strangers happen to be the outside world. In that country is where the strangers are found. Okay. Joseph, being 17 years old. So this is the number 8. This is a control number. So whenever you get 8 in here, this is what the story is about. Jacob has a dream, and he is, because of this dream, well, I could just tell you the story so much easier than reading it. But what happens is here we are starting off. Let's start off with the second phase, the second dream, the second group of worlds between 5 and 8. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren. All right, told it to his brethren, and they hated him yet even more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood around and about, and made I can't even say the word, bowed down to my sheaf. All right. And the final number 8. And his brethren said to him, Shall thou indeed reign over us? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet even more for his dreams and for his words. Okay, so this is the second worlds in here, which represents God's creation. So what he has done is he has dreamt this dream. Well, he dreamt this dream. This was in the north, in the business of the north. And he dreamt of these sheaves and this idea. This was talking about the south, the parts of it. He says, this is the brethren. This is where the brethren are anyways. He says, mine rose up and you guys bowed down. And so this is this, and they hated him even more. Not only did father like him more, okay, and remember his father now is called Israel, okay, so because they said, well, not going to call you this anymore, because he made it over to the other side, and these are all his children now that he has to deal with. And so as this dream is this idea of when we go up in our meditation, that we would, this is rising up, we're rising up in meditation, and that when this happens, it's the 4 and 20, which these guys represent as, this is the children of Jacob. This is the different tribes of Israel, and they represent the zodiac up in the sky, or the Mazzaroth. So you would find that this is the 4 and 20 elders that all rise, or not rise, but fall to the face, where they all wind up serving whoever it is that was risen up, which is this idea of you rising up and then gaining control over yourself. This is what these guys, you're going to get control over me? You're going to take control over us? Oh, yeah? Over my dead body? Of course, they didn't say that, but that could be woven into the story, And he dreamed yet another dream, and he told this to the brethren. He said, behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obstinate. I can't tell you what let me see what it's. Obeisance. Obinitz. I can't say it. Anyways, it falls on a 9. This idea is they have to bow down to him. It's the only thing I can think about. Okay. And we get 10. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him and said unto him, what is this dream that thou hast dreamed? This is, rebuke means to correct him. It's questioning him. Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee, to the earth? And his brethren envied him because his father observed the same. Because he's not like, he's like he's listening to it. All right. That comes on 11. And his brethren went to feed the father's flock in Shechem. Okay. So they all took off. And this is number 12. 12 representing the 3. And they're not necessarily in this place where we're controlling. I mean, where you're not, it's not, this 3 is not the joining together at all. They've separated. Okay. That was the third world. This is the idea that 3 is going to be the combination of the 1 and the 2. Now, 3, the third world in this would represent the third number, and the third number means joining together or separating. And what we get in this particular last little group of worlds was that they're not going for it. The dream, they're not going for any of this thing, and so they take off to Shechem and take off to get away from them. They separated, so it's not a joining together. Then we get 13, 14, 15, 16. This is 4. 4, the number 4 is going to be representing the worlds. All right, so there must be some traveling going to go on. Okay, that's the thing. And Israel said to Joseph, do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send you up to them. And he said to them, here am I. And he said to him, go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and came to Shechem. Number 14. And number 15, and a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, what thou seekest thou? The field is us. He's found him in the field. To me, it's also meaning when you go into meditation, this idea of the field, you get found in this place. And what are you looking for? And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. And the man said that they had departed hence, for I heard them say, let's go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren and found them in Dothan. And the last, it says, and when they saw him far off, and before him came near unto him, they conspired against him to slay. All right, so here is the next. Am I getting this right? 4, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 16 was the end of another 4. And it was about traveling. All right. And when he finally makes it to the 16, he says, I pray thee, where shall I feed? Where do they feed their flocks? And then we get the next one is 5. 5 is representing the body. It's representing the brethren. All right. That's what 5 represents. So that'd be 17, 18, 19, and 20. And the man said, they are departed hence, for I heard them say, let's go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren and found them in Dothan. Number 18. And when they saw him far off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said to one another, behold, this dreamer cometh. Now, come now, therefore, and let us slay him and cast him into some pit. And we will say some evil beast had devoured him. And we shall see what will become of his dreams. All right. So this is the brethren conspiring against him. So we get our next group, our next bunch of worlds. So we've got 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16, 20. The 5th world. Now we've got 6. The 6th world on here generally has to do with the works that are going on inside of our body. And they're conspired against him to throw him into a pit. Okay? So what do we get out of this? Now come now and let us. They dreamed up this idea. Come now and let us slay him and cast him into a pit, and we'll tell some evil beast had devoured him. But now we get 21. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into the pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him of their hands, to deliver him from his father's anger. And he came to pass, when Joseph was come unto the brethren, that they stripped Joseph of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into the pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it. So this is the next 4, all right? This idea, there's no water in it, so it wasn't the best thing. So it's an outside thing. Water's a good thing, to be cast into like a water or something, but this pit, this little hole in the ground, okay? So 6, they said that maybe they will take away the father's anger. That's the whole point of when we finally get into this, this meditation thing, that it's taking away from us all those things that come against us, and anger being one of those things, okay? That it would quell the anger against our father, which is the whole reason behind all of this. So this is a story whereas the most favorite son is being cast away because the brothers don't want him around. Let's see what happens to his dreams now. All right. And then we get 25, 26, 27, 28. We get another set. This is 7. 7 is usually the Lord's Day. 7 is this idea that this is when the Lord's Day it's usually dark. Something would happen that's going to correct things. This is the rebuking and the judgment of things that come about. And so so 25, 26, 27, and 28 is going to be this Number seven, seven representing the Lord's day, this world, okay? And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels bearing spiceries and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. Okay, now let's just keep going. And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him. For he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought Joseph into Egypt. All right, this is seven. He's being brought into Egypt. Okay, it's not a good thing either, but it means he's being brought in as a slave. And I also have to interject in here, his brothers never got a chance to sell him. They only thought about doing it. But while they were sitting down eating and all this business, a group of people called the Midianites, merchantmen, came and drew him up and lifted up Joseph up out of the pit and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. Oh my God, you guys, this is just so beautiful. That's a 10. It's a beautiful thing. If you could only understand that the Midianites, it's the medians, the middle. We're still talking outside business, but this is a spiritual text. So Midianites found him in the pit and raised him up out of this pit. They drew him out of the pit. That's this Midianites. That's what would happen if this were actually happening. And, of course, they sat down and ate, had a great time. They lifted up their eyes, saw these people coming in the distance, and they said, oh, hey, they had a whole nother thought. Okay, so that's seven. Now let's go on to the eighth world. And Reuben returned to the pit. Reuben means 8 is about a control. It's a fixed situation. So 8. So it says, and Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit. And he rent his clothes. And he returned unto his brethren and said, the child is not. And I, whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goats, and dipped the blood in its blood, dipped the coat in its blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they had brought into their father, and said, this have we found. Know not where it be thy son's coat or not, or no. This is how this works. Turn to the pit. We returned to the pit. And they sent the coat of many colors. So this is 8. So this is definitely, a fixed situation. Whereas they came back and found the guy dead, and now they got to make up something about it. I'm just saying that there was never a point in this particular part of the world here that the brethren actually did the selling. They only had the dreaming of it, or the thinking of it, and saw these things coming and put it in their minds. And then when they came back to the pit, he was gone. So that's what I'm just trying to get apart here, across. All right. And so they've come to their father and told him, this is what we have. This is all we have found. All right. And so the next set of world is 9. And so 9 is going to represent a particular conscious number, whether it be a good or a bad conscious. All right. And he knew it and said, it's my son's coat. An evil beast has devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. This is what he's thinking. And Jacob rent his clothes, put sackcloth upon his loins, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, and he refused to be comforted. And he said, "For I will go down into the grave until my son morning, until my son's morning." Thus his father wept for him. And the final one, number 36, which is 9, it ends in a 9 as well. And the Midianites sold him to Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and captain to guard. Okay, so he's he's been sold. That's a lower 9. So Jacob has been taken into Egypt, which is a lower place altogether, the lower mind altogether, and he's been sold to this particular guy. And so this final 9, this final 4, this final world is telling us that he is not free. But that's just the beginning of the story. All right. So what we get out of this here whole thing is a representation of what could happen. And again, we get this inside outside approach to things. Whereas, no one has actually gone into this meditation yet. No one has gone into all this stuff yet, but it's being reflected on as all the brothers getting mad at this guy and wanting to get rid of him. This is like Cain and Abel. Okay. When you get rid of your brother, then you're on the stranger side. Is that if you don't have the brother around to help raise the fathers and kindle the anger in father, which is their children, they're working for their father. That's what all these things are about. His father sent Jacob out to go and round all these people up. So it's not over yet. It just sounds like it's over. And this idea of dying, even at the very end when we have Jacob saying, "Oh my God, I'm just going to mourn until my son's death." It's not over yet. It's not over by any means whatsoever. But it's introducing the way. It's introducing this idea that one day this dreamer, Joseph, is going to have his way, and his brothers will indeed bow down to him. Because unbeknownst to them, and only because I know these stories pretty good now, is that there's a great famine in the land. And a famine in our Bible means no God, that God has left the building. And this is basically along those lines that whenever most people are born in this world, this is the Passover when real Jews, not Jewish people, when real Jews would guard themselves against this wrath of God and having their firstborn, their son, being stolen from them, being cut away from him by knife, and that when they would put the blood on the doorpost and the lintel and all this business here, this is talking about your brain. And this puts you in this place of, when God will pass over you and spare your child from being taken away from you. But this does not spare anyone but people that are considered the chosen ones of God, the ones that flee up into the mountains during these bad times. And when they flee up into the mountains, they're going into a meditation, and they're taking care of business, and then the bad stuff passes by. Now, not to say that this is what you do when things get bad. You don't go into meditation, because it's usually you just got too much going on to even make it into this particular meditation part. But when we finally do make it up to this point, we are given the reins of our body, and the brethren are the sons of Jacob. This is, everyone bows down to you. This is the idea that the stars from heaven fall to earth. So you're no longer separated from these things because they're all connected right together, all one. The 24 elders bowing down to the person that makes journey within themselves. When they see the Son of Man raising in the clouds with this rainbow business around them, this is you coming up and saying, hello, God, or hello, Mom, and Dad now. All right. So this story is going to come to part as we go in. This was the latest chapter. Okay. I can't remember what it was. Do I remember? Number 37. Yeah, number 37. Hope you got something out of this. All right. The coat of many colors is our body. Remember, it's the garment. And so our coat can be, you can be a black person, you can be a yellow person, you can be a red person, you could be brown, there's all kinds of colors out there right now. All right. The coat of many colors. It's also about the sun in the sky and how the light creates all these beautiful colors. But you are that coat of many colors. You are Jacob. You are Joseph when you finally make it over to this other side. And you have all those brethren inside of you. It's all about you. All right. It's only when we bring the stranger in, when we deal with Esau, when we're in that particular world, we are, dealing with the stranger, dealing with the whore on our back. It's all an outside operation. All right. Anyways, I hope you understood any of this. Hope you got something out of it. All right. Best to you.